Hello there! And welcome back to another video! This week I'm going to be doing a sketchbook tour this week. I say this week as if I have a regular weekly upload schedule. But anyway, I'm going to be doing a sketchbook tour. I haven't done one of these on my channel for I think 3 years. Following that, I had started this sketchbook. I started this sketchbook in 2019 while I was in Japan. Well, I still hadn't finished the other one. Here's a sneak preview for that. So I started this in June of 2019, and I started it primarily because I wanted something bigger to sketch in and to do Inktober 2019. But then in March of 2019, I had gotten through maybe, I don't know, like this much of it probably, and then I had started an internship for school, and this big guy was a little bit too cumbersome to take in my bag to my internship with the commute and all that. So I decided to crack open this fella. And this fella, it's in hindsight, it's hilarious that I have this started when I have it started. But so I started the first illustration on this on March 9th, 2020, while I was still in my internship. Little did I know that like the week following when I started this book, and I started it just for it to be more convenient to travel with, like a week afterwards we went to work from home, and I haven't really been back to the office since for any like major capacity. But so yes, this sketchbook, the sketchbook itself is from the one that came in Jazz's Jazzy Art Box. I'll let you know more of my thoughts on it as a actual, like, would I buy this sketchbook again, would I use it again sort of thing. But let's just jump right into the first sketch, which was again March 9th, 2020. I drew this at the office during my lunch hour. I just drew it with the things that I have like in here. This was just my regular backpack pencil case at the time, some high-tech C's, some little highlighters. This is my character Aries. I also drew these, I think, this one I drew at home, this one I think I also drew at the office. This was, again, because it was March 2020, Animal Crossing New Horizons hadn't come out, but it was coming out soon. So I did a bit of drawing of my Animal Crossing character from New Leaf because I was just so excited. Little did I know that over the following year I'd dedicate over 800 hours of my time to Animal Crossing, but well, she learns. And then just 3-4 pages into the sketchbook, we have this, which is hilarious to me, saying me last week at the office with blazers, slacks, heeled boots, makeup, my hair down, and then me this week working from home, hoodie, sweatpants, bare feet, clean face, ponytail. At my internship, we didn't quite do as much of the camera stuff. Nowadays at my current job, we do more of the camera stuff when we work from home, so it's not quite this casual, but I just found it quite hilarious that I started this sketchbook at such a like pivotal time. And then the other thing with it being started at this time is that I was just spending a lot of time at home. So then between, you know, this point in 2020 and now, I was doing a lot more digital art. There was also quite a few things that I just broke into this sketchbook. This is the first time I've ever had like 2 sketchbooks in rotation where I was working on them together, which is another reason why it's taking me so long to finish this one. But moving forward, we have just a random sketch page, and then I did this series, I'll link it in the card, where I was drawing all of my Animal Crossing villages. This was already towards June of 2020, I'm fairly sure, so quite a bit of a gap between the start in March and then when I started using this book again in June. I did some swatching of some pencils that I had, and then another one of my villages, Cherry. I quite enjoyed working in colour pencils. It had been quite a long time since I had, but I did quite forget that it was really time consuming. And also I stopped filling in like the nameplates in colour pencils because my wrist ended up being really sore from the amount of pressure that you have to put down whilst you're doing this. And this is me swatching the watt-based markers that I was using for this. And yeah, this is just essentially me connecting my love of art to my love of Animal Crossing by drawing the 10 villages. I did end up eventually switching out Coco. Instead of Coco, I have Octavian right now, which he'll come up at some point eventually. And then Stitches, I love Stitches. This here was just a thumbnail sketch for a traditional painting that I did for my apartment. I'll try to input the photo of it right here so you can see the original sketch to the final illustration. This was just me trying to do like a plan for a little area of my island in Animal Crossing. A quick little pen sketch, and then this is my character Rowan, drawn in a little bit of an Animal Crossing style because I added him to my island. Same here with Zeke. Since markers bleed, I don't quite use both sides of the paper. My character Aries. Since then, I've also added my character Talia to my Animal Crossing island, but I haven't drawn her in this style, and I plan to fix that eventually at some point. And then here's a little pencil sketch of my character Aries and my friend Sap's character Wahid. I just saw this kind of pose, I think, on a screenshot on either TikTok or Pinterest, so I felt like drawing it. And then over here, more characters. So what I did like about this sketchbook is that when you are on these little like middle, so maybe not so much on this page where you can still see like the binding, but when you reach the middle of the stacks of the paper where it's folded over, it's quite a lot easier to draw things that cross both sides of the paper. So this is my character Chrome, and this is my friend Saf's character Yan. So there was another little, I just kind of wanted to do like a kabedon, so sort of shoujo pose. And this is my character Alroy. I think I was just in a meeting at work and I was just kind of doodling this while working on that. This was me trying to sketch out my island map in Animal Crossing. As you can see, we're like this much through the sketchbook and I'm still obsessed with Animal Crossing. And then here I went on a binge to try to read every Harry Potter fanfic that featured Charlie Weasley in a prominent matter. So I just drew a little sketch of him. This is something that there was sketches for something that I did for work. I needed to make these graphics for a blog at work, and so I just did the sketches here that I ended up tracing in Illustrator and publishing. Here are another two. This here was actually, I was watching an Overpain episode from Borrow Dante, and he was correcting this one viewer of his. They submitted a drawing that had like this girl in this pose, and it just kind of felt awkward even in Borrow Dante's thing, so I just kind of wanted to sketch it out to, I don't know, try to see the action. I don't know, it still feels really stiff and weird. And then a very poorly drawn Naruto, which I was just doing on autopilot, I think. This here, it doesn't matter, let's not talk about it. And then here, I think I'm in either November or December of 2020 at this point. So from March to December, this is as far as I got. Again, I did a lot of drawing on my iPad digitally in this time, so this isn't all the drawing that I did in 2020, but in November, December-ish of 2020, I just completely refell in love with One Piece. I do want to eventually do a My Fandoms episode on One Piece, because I had been caught up to, I think, the end of the Dressrosa arc, but then, or maybe even Whole Cake Island. I can't remember where I was, but then I just kind of like rewatched a whole bunch and then got super obsessed with One Piece all over again. So I did a bunch of Luffy's, and this was for a TikTok where I drew Zeke, and then more for another TikTok where I do Sanji, and then I drew another Sanji on digital just to match a 1 minute, 10 minutes, and then like 2 hour challenge. This was going to be the like 2 hour version of Sanji, but I didn't quite like it, so I switched to the iPad, and then I just filled in the space with some gesture drawing kind of things. This here was a little thumbnail sketch of Punchy from Animal Crossing that I drew as a birthday gift for my friend Kat. I'll try to sandwich in the photo of what the finished painting looked like. It was just a little acrylic on canvas. And this was, I brought out my Pentel brush pen, and my brother just decided to have a play. I drew this, I think this and this, and then the rest of it, I might have drawn that, I can't remember, but these two things were my brother that drew this, and this is, you can tell, December 14th, 2020. And then I just needed, since I don't use that brush pen that often, I don't want it to dry out, so you have to kind of empty the ink from that cartridge to make sure that it doesn't get stiff and like you're not able to use it anymore. So this was me trying to just use up the rest of the ink on that brush pen. During December, besides getting obsessed with One Piece again, I kind of got obsessed with the Corpse Husband, Saikuno, Disguised Toast, Jacksepticeye, that kind of crew of Among Us players. So I did a whole bunch of fan art for Corpse, but it was all on my iPad. And I just decided to do a cute little traditional drawing of Saikuno because he's adorable and a sweet cinnamon roll that must be appreciated. So this was drawn on New Year's Eve, it looks like. Again, Marcus It Bleeds. This was a TikTok. There was this guy doing some hand poses, I think, for Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. So he was doing some hand poses for them, and so I just kind of like copied his hands because he was like, they're really interesting hands to draw. This was again for another TikTok. It's Zoro from One Piece. The idea was that there was this audio where you count to 6 and then you get abs and so I wanted to get the good final photo of abs, but this one wasn't quite good. This one wasn't quite good either. I ended up liking this one, but the idea was that there's this tiny little drawing and I didn't have the abs drawn in, and so in the TikTok you just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it cuts to like pa-pam. So yeah, that was kind of fun, and even just the tiny little cute chibi Zoro that I didn't really put much effort into, it kind of like the vibe. Here, I knew that this page was going to be covered in markers, but I didn't want to waste like 2 back-to-back pages. So if you can look kind of closely at it, you can kind of see some thumbnails for this piece. So I ended up going with this thumbnail where the wings are kind of like that. I did like in the thumbnail better, that didn't quite translate, that the wings go higher over here compared to his head. I did like that more, so there was more of a crescent shape from like the top of his wings to then his body and then the back of his wings. But either way, this was quite a lot of fun. I think this was the biggest marker piece I've done in a long time. This took almost an entire alcohol marker. I think I used almost all of the red Spectrum Noir marker from Jazz's Jazzy Art Box to color in the wings. In hindsight, I probably should have used a water-based marker just as a base red and then shaded it with the Copics or the alcohol markers. But oh well, you live and you learn. This was my first time drawing Hawks from My Hero Academia. Here, oh, I remember what this was about. So this was a TikTok that I did for, there's this remix of the song Overwhelmed by Serpent something something. This TikTok guy did a remix of it that it goes to the overwhelmed chorus, and then he goes, so just don't get overwhelmed and you'll make it out, and then you'll be just fine. I promise you don't have to worry about a thing. Don't let it break you down. You've got me by your side, and when you feel the difference, it will be night and day. So I did a TikTok like that, like a little animatic style video, as if Corpse Husband was singing this, and I just kind of wrote it out here so I could plan where I would kind of break in the illustrations. This was another little thumbnail sketch thing where I had to do graphics for work. This, I think I ended up just trying to show someone something, and I was just doodling it to show it. This is another little cute TikTok that I did, and I also taught my friend how to draw like glass bottles, so that's kind of what's going on here. And then there was a lot of empty space on this page, so I just filled it in with Pokemon. Again, Octavian, so we went from way back here in like June of 2020 to probably January or February of 2021, where I drew Octavian, and then there was a huge gap of me not using the sketchbook between this one and moving forward. But then I was just really sore for some reason and stiff for some reason at work, so I just drew my character Aries doing like a big stretch to try to get myself to focus on work. And then this was just some like doodling here. I was trying to figure out how to do a more chibi-fied face and profile, because I did a gouache painting of, I'll try to sandwich that here too. I was trying just to figure out how to draw Luffy's face and profile as a chibi. So this is how I might normally draw a profile, and then I was trying to simplify it until I got something more like this, which I ended up really liking. Here, I was just reading some Miraculous fanfiction, and Luca was being really cool, so I just did a really rough sketch of Luca. This is really recent now, I think this was a couple weeks ago, just drawing Dabby. Bleeding, so I can't really use this. This guy here, I don't know if you guys would have seen him in a previous sketchbook tour, because he's definitely been around. His name is Bame. He's Wahid's older brother, and he's a doctor, and he's a vampire. So I just decided to draw him because I was talking to my friend Saf about him. And then this is the last double page spread in this sketchbook. Here's Bakugo. I really like this page. I want to do more pages like this where it's just like a flat color and like this inky thing. I definitely would not attempt it in this sketchbook because it's just massive, but I really love this page. I think this might be my favorite page in the entire sketchbook. And then over here we have just this girl that's slightly inspired by the character of Maria in My Next Life as a Villainess. Saf gave me a prompt to draw something with marigolds, so I just drew this. And that does it for this sketchbook. There are some pages left. In case this is the first sketchbook tour you've ever seen from me, I do like to leave some blank pages in the back of the sketchbook, because historically, and even like in my childhood sketchbooks and stuff like that, when I flip through them, sometimes I get inspired and I see these things and I was like, I drew this like that, but how would I draw it now? And I kind of like leaving the space in the back of the sketchbook if I ever want to come back to it and draw something, say 4 or 5 years from now, just to show, it feels like I'm having a conversation with myself from the past, just to show Candy from 2020 and 2021 what she's doing in 2025 or something like that. So that's why I leave pages in the back. Overall, to give you my opinion on this sketchbook for working with, I love this paper. This paper is great. It's thick, it's sturdy, it holds up to, I didn't try any watery mediums, I didn't try my gouache paints, I didn't try watercolors, I didn't try any paint, but it took every other material that I put to it like a dream. With the pencil, you can't layer that much. This is a very smooth paper, so you can't do too many layers of pencils, but otherwise I loved working with this. My one complaint with this sketchbook, which is why I'm kind of excited that I'm finishing it, and I don't think I would get another one of my own. I do have another one of this brand from the Jazz's Inky box that's coffee colored, which I'll break into eventually. It's not going to go to waste, but the one thing that I did not exactly enjoy from this sketchbook was that the spine is a bit extra stiff, and I felt the need to abuse my clips a lot, so I usually had to have both sides clipped down to work on something, otherwise it just would not lay flat, and that was slightly an inconvenience. But otherwise I really did enjoy working in the sketchbook. I'm really happy with what happened in it. I'm a little bit disappointed in how long it took me to finish, but it was my New Year's resolution to finish this sketchbook and this sketchbook before the end of the year. To give you a sneak preview, I'm about halfway through this other sketchbook. I've got, yeah, right at the halfway mark basically, so got a ways to go left on that one, but now that this one's finished I can focus entirely on that one and just have a good time. Thank you so much for watching the sketchbook tour. I'll leave a link to my playlist of all of my other sketchbook tours. They are of varying quality in terms of camera and audio, so I apologize for that. But it's interesting to have this archive of me flipping through all of my sketchbooks as soon as they're done. So, yep, thank you very much for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all sometime.